Welcome to the Property Lifestyle Mastery podcast. We are all about having open conversations about building property businesses that don't just create cash flow, but also create freedom. And yeah, we talk about the great results from property, but we are also totally open and honest about the challenges and the lessons from making all of that happen. From our own experience of doing over £16 million worth of deals over the last 10 years, raising £6 million of finance, and creating the holiday every 6 weeks life. Now today I'm delighted to be joined by the incredible Natasha Friend, who has been a mentee of mine and Dave's for several years, but also a great friend as well. And what I love about the episode today is that Natasha is really open about the journey that she's been on to creating a great portfolio of properties around the Peterborough area, working with investors, raising over £2 million of finance. She does multiple flips as well, and she's also a mentor for those who are just getting started in property and wanting to really get going. And I love the fact that Natasha shared some of the real challenges that she's been through, and she has found some solutions in some very unexpected places, which has been a real joy to watch the difference in Natasha and how she's approaching her day-to-day life and challenges now based on the learnings from those moments. Natasha said this is unlike any podcast interview she's ever done before, so I'm really excited to share this with you. Let's do it.
Hello, Natasha.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. It's been so long in the offing, and I just think there's so much amazing stuff that I want to talk through with you. So this is I'm really excited about it. And obviously we've worked closely together for a few years now, so we've been through many highs and lows in your journey together. And when I was thinking about people that we wanted to have on the podcast as guests, I really wanted you to come on, because I feel like you really represent someone who has been so tenacious in keeping going through the challenges of property. You've built up your own portfolio, you've done flips, you are amazing at mentoring other people. You've done so much amazing stuff in property, but it's easy for people to look at that and to kind of feel, oh, it's all right for Natasha, it all goes really well for her. But actually, there's been a lot of challenges along the way. And I think it's one of the things I really respect about you is how you keep going and you keep learning through all of that. So yeah, that's what I wanted us to speak about today. What's your initial thoughts about the topic area?
Yeah, no, I'm really, really excited, really looking forward to it. And it'd be nice to sort of step back and go through all the challenges and what I've learned over the way. And obviously having you here to support me through the last few years. I definitely wouldn't have been doing property without you by my side still, I think. You're a key factor to my tenacity, but yeah, really excited.
Oh, that's lovely. Thanks, Natasha. I feel like, I guess that's an interesting, maybe that's a place that we could start. So I feel like in our, work together, that's helped to keep going through the challenges. What do you think it is that, what's specific about that support has it that helped you to keep going? Can you try and be specific about it?
Yeah, I think although it's me and my husband in the business, he's very much the project manager side, the refurbishment side. So it is quite a lonely space. And I think unless you've got someone like yourself or a mentor someone to talk through any challenges, I mean, you come up with different ideas, think of different routes and things that I didn't even think about. But yeah, just more the support to be able to talk through it with someone. It's a small business, me and my husband and a virtual assistant. So it's not like we've got many other members to be able to bounce ideas off, talk through challenges, get their ideas and support and things. So yeah, a massive help to us.
Interesting. So it's kind of like that way you kind of potentially, when you're going through challenges, you become like a bit more tunnel minded, and it's like opening up to potentials and seeing paths forward that you kind of become closed off to. Would that be a fair way to summarize it?
Yeah, completely spot on.
And let's talk about that like tunnel vision that happens when the challenges come up, because I think would be a really interesting thing to talk about. So challenges come up, things don't go to plan. Just talk to us about what happens, when you're kind of closing down and feeling like there's not any solutions. How does that feel? What have you gone through? Try and explain that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot better now, but in the past it was just like the heightened stress levels, the not being able to see other opportunities or way around things. I suppose when you're in it and in the moment and you allow all that cortisol to come rushing through your body, and you think there's no other way out. I mean, I've even had panic attacks over some of the challenges that we've faced through property. And I've done a lot of, with you and with DMA, a lot of work on self-development and personal, like, self-awareness. Now I'm a lot better at it, and I can sort of calm myself and sit with it. And meditate is a powerful tool, being able to meditate through these sort of challenges. But in the past, it was just completely tunnel vision. Everything was going to pot. Why am I doing property? I don't want to do it anymore. Losing money. It's just caused a lot of stress in the past.
And it sounds like really like it's like the mind gets involved, right? Like some things are going wrong for all of us, right? But we always think it's somehow going worse for us, whatever we're doing. We're like, oh, the mind wants to be like, oh, well, this is rubbish. As you say, you kind of get to the point, you're like, oh, well, screw property. Like, what's even the point of it? How are you changing that? Like, what's helping you to catch yourself sooner now? Just explain a bit more about that.
Yeah, I think over the last year, I've been working on meditation and self-awareness and noticing triggers and things that cause us to feel certain ways, which are not good for our mental health or our physical health. Practicing meditation, affirmations, exercise really helps. I really enjoy exercise. I'm just so much more aware, and I'll take a step back and I'll pause. Even if I receive an email, for example, and it's bad news or something's gone wrong, before I would get really irate, really stressed out, reply straight away. Whereas now I'll pause and I'll give myself at least half an hour to sit with it and see how I should best react, how I should move forward. Just a lot more calmer, isn't it? And it's such a lovely place to be. Why do we need to get so stressed out with these challenges? There's no need for it. You can't control everything, and that's something that I've learned as well. Why get stressed over things you can't control? So if you can't control it, just let it be, and everything happens for a reason. It's something I live by, no matter whether it's bad, ugly.
Look for the good in it.
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing, Natasha. Like, that's why I'm loving doing these podcasts with people like yourselves. Like, just imagining you saying those things like 2 years ago, you just wouldn't have. Like, I mean, let's talk about meditation. Going back to how, like, what did you think about meditation before you got into it? Was it something that you thought was worthwhile? Like, you always wanted to meditate? Just give us some context on that.
No, I tried quite a few times over the years. My mind goes 100 million miles per hour. So I struggled a lot to focus and concentrate and really see a benefit from it. Probably put too much pressure on it initially, because it takes time and it takes practice, definitely. Sorry, what was the question again?
What was your perception of meditation before you started to get into it?
Yeah, so I thought I didn't have time to do it. I'd rather exercise than just sit there and think. It took a while to really understand. I think the switch for me was understanding the benefits for it and how it works, and that it's not miraculously going to change you overnight after doing a few sessions. It takes practice. You need to know what you are wanting to think about and address, and it's not necessarily just thoughts. It can be feelings as well, and what you feel in your body. That was the switch for me, and that was only probably the last 3 to 6 months.
Amazing. And so what was it that what did you start doing then, in terms of, like, what is that practice? What did that look like? And how long did you have to go at it until you started to see benefits?
yeah, I took it quite slow. I still probably would struggle to do anything longer than 20 minutes in one go, but started gradually with sort of 5-10 minutes at a time. And I think the biggest thing I got from it wasn't necessarily during the meditation or straight away after. It was just noticing how much more calmer I am as a person, and how I can deal with these little challenges and these problems and things that hit us in property and in life as well. Like this morning was absolutely manic, and I did so many things wrong and forgot so many things during the school run. But I was just calm, really calm about it. I didn't allow it to alter my sort of emotions and my mood. So yeah, it's not necessarily from the meditation straight away, but I think the build up of doing it and doing it on a regular basis just allows you to be more at peace and accepting of the challenges and things that happen.
Amazing. And are you doing guided meditations? Like, tell us the nitty-gritty of what you're doing.
Yeah, I still generally do guided meditations. Every now and then, if I have a big feeling, not a thought, a big feeling, I'll just sit with the feeling and like some nice music in the background. But generally, I prefer, because of my mind wandering so much, I prefer to have it guided just to support me through it. But it's something I'm still going to work on and practice doing, unguided meditation, and hopefully get a bit longer. Doing it for sort of 30 minutes or so would be good.
Amazing. So, and are you seeing that your mind is starting to be a bit less crazy than it was before? Is it calming itself down at all?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I tell myself it's just 20 minutes. I'm just going to sit here for 20 minutes out of my day and just try and allow my brain to switch off. But having like a bit of paper or a phone or something that I can just jot down notes or things that come into my head helps. And then I get straight back into it.
Nice. And when logistically in your day are you generally doing meditations? Like, so obviously you've got the school run and stuff in the morning. How do you fit it in?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to do it first thing in the morning, but it just doesn't work in my household and my chapter of life right now with the 2-year-old. So generally I'll do it before I get started with work.
Really nice. It just gets you in a good zone to go into your day. That's one of the things that I think you're really amazing at, is just like, you have a lot of stuff going on. You've got a lot of family commitments, but you just are so amazing at getting the important stuff done. Like, I think, yeah, like, how do you manage to do that? It's a bit of an aside really, but like, you always manage to make time to look after your investors and to find new investors and to go out and find deals. Like, how are you managing to do that with having like a busy schedule?
I think they're the parts that I really love about the business and I enjoy doing. I'm very much that sided, especially when it comes to wealth dynamics. I think you spoke about it briefly on the podcast, but yeah, I mean, they're the fundamentals of the business, aren't they? Doing deals and finding investors. So I just feel like without that, there's no point in having all these fancy systems and processes in place. And I hate systems and processes. So I just focus on doing the deals and finding the money. And that's the bit that I absolutely love doing. So I think I get buzz from finding the deals and building the relationships with the investors. I'd happily just do that, and nothing else would be my ideal situation. And we will get there with outsourcing. But I think that's right. I think because I love it. I love
doing it.
Yeah,
it's great. And I think so, because I know that you don't love the systems side of it. It's why we're a good complement working with you. From what I've seen, just that you've really streamlined what you focus on in terms of your business. So it's, whilst you're not spending loads of time systemizing and setting up fancy systems, you are very focused in what you're doing. And sometimes we step back and we go, well, actually, is this still the right thing? Like, obviously single lets have got a lot harder over the last year, so we've kind of had to be stepping back and looking at alternative things. But yeah, has that worked for you then, that like being more focused rather than spending time sitting and writing up processes?
Oh yeah, definitely, because I would just sit there and procrastinate and writing up processes. And I mean, I do the things that have to be done and need to be done and urgent. But yeah, streamlining, and that's right at the beginning of when I started working with you, obviously, a lot of people get struck by the shiny penny syndrome. And I did start to do that. But I think that one of the keys to our success was just focusing on buy-to-lets. And then we introduced flips about 18 months down the line. But it's a very similar strategy. It's just a slightly different spec, refurb and type of property that we buy. So we just buy into sell rather than buy into hold. But yeah, that being focused on your strategy and on the actions and the tasks that you're doing in your business, I think is key.
And thinking about that in relation to some of the more challenging times, and we were having a chat before we pressed record about like what those challenging times were. Tell us, actually, that would lovely to hear people to hear. Actually, I was like, we're going to talk about some of the challenges and how you've overcome them. Tell me what you said to that when that's how we started.
Well, the bit that I said, I forget about the challenges.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in my brain. I just seem to file challenges and problems away and forget about them. So yeah, it was quite nice to chat through some of the challenges that you've supported me with over the years. And I think that's just part of me as well, to force myself to continue and keep progressing, is to try and overcome the challenge and then file it and move on. But people can learn from our challenges, and it's good to be able to share them with my mentees and on podcasts and things. So yeah, we did have some big challenges over the last sort of 18 to 12 months, which really affected me personally. It created quite a bit of fear in terms of progressing the business and buying properties, because a big error was made by one of our sort of professionals that looks after our business, and it cost us a lot of money. And I think that sparked up something inside of me, probably from childhood or parents' sort of relationships with money, that brought on a lot of fear around losing money. So I was over cautious on analysing deals, and over cautious to the point of not barely viewing anything for a period of time. So yeah, it really, really did affect me. And that's another reason why I got into meditation and sort of the energy healing and things that we do, because you can know what you need to do. You know you need to find deals and raise money for a property business, but there can be things that stop people from doing it, whether it's mindset, energy. I noticed there was a period of probably 5 to 6 months where there was just something that didn't feel right with me, and we weren't progressing the business as fast or as well as we should have been.
And as well as you could and can and have, right? And just it didn't make logical or rational sense. And I think that was the moment it was like, this isn't, and that's, as you said, it's kind of like there's a whole fear that came up. Can you describe a bit more like how you noticed it was fear and what you did about it?
I think it took a while. It was probably having a couple of months of our like key performance monthly check-ins, and I was just then noticing, okay, something's happened. Before we were doing deals every month and raising finance every month, and now it's been a few months and something's happened, something's shifted in me that's stopping me from doing it. Like I knew there was something, I just didn't know what it was initially. I thought it was maybe the mindset and the fear, but I knew what I was doing. I'd done probably over 20 deals at that point and raised over £2 million worth of finance, but there was something that had completely shifted. It was like I was a newbie again, because at the beginning, every time I would get a new buy-to-let mortgage, I'd panic and be, oh my God, it's another £100,000 worth of debt. What am I doing? So it was like going back to the beginning, and something had happened. I don't know at what point it was that, I think maybe it was a session with you and we were just talking through it, and I was like, is it because of what happened? And we lost that money due to someone else's mistake. because it ended up costing us sort of nearly £40,000 in total, which is a big amount of money. And I'd never lost money before on any deals. We'd never made a loss. So I think that really shook me up.
And so then what did you do? I think you're actually like, you were really brave. And this is like my volition behind this whole episode. It's like you're at that moment that you're just like basically in complete fear of carrying on in property. Like you're kind of paralyzed by something that you don't understand. And I feel like the normal human reaction at that point is to go, screw property. This is just making me feel like absolute crap. I'm not doing it anymore. But I think the brave thing about what you did at that point was you said, no, I'm gonna look into this really scary feeling that I really don't want to look at, because I think underneath that there's an answer to be able to move forwards. So can you try and explain to us like what that looking at that scary part of yourself was?
I think there was probably two sides of it. Like the actual feeling that I had was in my gut, and I just couldn't shift it. Every time I was like even trying to make a booking to view a property or put an offer in, I had this feeling that I just couldn't shift. But there was also the fear that we weren't progressing, and I wasn't building the business, and I wasn't building this lifestyle and financial freedom that we set out for. So it was sort of two conflicting fears against each other. That I was like, I need to sort this out. I don't feel like me. I don't feel like the Natasha that I am in business. Something needs to change, whether it's my mindset or my energy, or just really going back through the training and the sort of analysis side, which I knew inside out. I knew it wasn't that, but I kept saying to you, there's a mindset problem, there's something. So it was two conflicting fears, and I'm putting the pressure on myself. I do that a lot, which I've stopped doing as much, but putting the pressure on myself because we weren't doing the deals. So it was completely conflicting fears and feelings sort of fighting each other, one trying to progress, the other one trying to keep me safe and not lose any money.
So what was it? What did you find? You looked into all of this.
So I believe it wasn't the mindset, because we talked through it so many times. I knew what I was doing. I, off the back of your recommendation, saw an energy healer, Simon, who helped me clear all the trauma energy that had been created from the mistake that was made and losing the money. And it was amazing to just release all of this energy. And he was saying how, I mean, I don't know if we're getting too woo-woo for some people, but how my core chakra, which is like in your gut, isn't it, the lower one down, how that was so shaken by everything that had happened. We'd also moved house lots of times and got lots going on, so he helped to restore that and sort of give me some grounding. And literally the week after, we secured 2 deals. One was brought to us by an agent, and the other one we found ourselves. But it was crazy.
Wow. And that's something that because I like, you're right, we're kind of heading there with the podcast. Like we've started much more kind of practical, and we're kind of getting into more alternative methods as we go through, so definitely more on this to come. But I would say, from your perspective, had you ever entertained like energy healing before? Was that something that you had heard of? Did you believe in it? Like, tell us where you came from that perspective.
No, I'd never heard of it. I'd heard of Reiki. Is that how Reiki? I've heard of that. I knew you had been doing some energy stuff as well, so you'd spoke briefly on it. I didn't know what to expect or how it would work. but yeah, even just initially before I had the session, he looked at my photo on WhatsApp and gave me some feedback around how I was through that. So yeah, really absolutely fascinating. I've had several sessions since, and it's always worked. I've not had one where I've not benefited from it. And everything is energy, isn't it? Everything. So it's just, yeah, really, really fascinating. I noticed a difference physically, that feeling in my gut when I was viewing property, like phoning agents and viewing properties that had gone. It still creeps in every now and then if I allow it to. So I have to meditate with that and push it out again. Yeah, completely life-changing.
Really amazing, because I think it was probably, because I know we did a session, Dave did a session, we had a retreat. This would have been what, 2022. We did the retreat together, and Dave did the session, which was basically, we were winding you guys all up saying, oh, Dave's got a big new spreadsheet to present to you at this retreat. And then Dave came and did a session which was all about it was called How to Feel Great About a Downval, and it was all about basically that everything is energy and how you can look at things from a different perspective. And I feel like it was probably off the back of that then Dave was talking about Simon and the energy work that Simon Tandrew is the guy that we're talking about here, was the energy work that Simon was doing. We'll get him on the podcast at some point for sure, and what he'd done with Dave. And I think that's how you then ended up going over to Simon, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I didn't have any expectations of anything changing from it. I just thought, let's give it a go, because something needs to give.
And so things really started to shift for you then to be able to carry on in a way that before you just couldn't seem to be able to do. Has that has that trend continued with bringing in energy healing as part of your property investing? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've used Simon now for personal things and business things, which has really helped support me with. And I think I will, probably continue to for a very long time. It's something that I will incorporate into my business as meditation. And I've just continued to keep doing deals, raising money. We've been building our house this year over the last sort of 7-8 months, and that's just gone so smoothly. Touch wood. I don't like saying it. It's gone really, really well. Our first ever build. We haven't even had a builder. We've been doing it all ourselves. So yeah, things are looking up. Things are going really well. We've secured some good deals for our pipeline for 2024. Still continuing to look for deals now, and I'm excited for some new projects and things coming up in 2024.
Wow. So that's if we could go back, it's over 12 months, maybe 12, 14 months. What would you would you have believed that you'd feel like this now from where you were?
No, not at all. I thought I was scarred for life. And just I thought property was going to be really hard again, but it's gone back to being easy and just flowing. And I mean, you still have good days and bad days. I think everyone does, no matter how calm and centered you are. But yeah, it's enjoyable. I'm doing the things that I enjoy again. I've got the confidence in myself and doing the deals and the numbers. Just back to loving property.
So good. Oh, it's so good. And I guess because you're a fantastic mentor, and it kind of links back to what I was saying earlier, with you being really good at focused on just getting the priorities done. And I think it's one of the reasons that makes you a great mentor. You clearly pass that level of focus, clarity, and passion onto those that you're working with. And I think in terms of bringing people on board, and you're really great helping people get their first investors agreed. Like, it's just, you clearly got a great focus that you bring. Like, what of these lessons that you've been through with about hard times, like what are the important things that you pass on to your mentees?
Yeah, I think go through all of the challenges with them and just make sure they don't make the same mistakes that we've made or I've made in the past. But it comes back to the fundamentals of if you're gonna build a business, you've got to do the deals and the raising finance. I think that's just the message that I share with them. That's the most important thing. And if there's something stopping you from doing that, then we need to look at it and address it, whether it's mindset, procrastination, fear. I think using the experience that I went through, knowing that there was something stopping me, always helps me to address that. And a lot of my mentees do struggle with like social media. They have blocks with sharing on social media and documenting their journey. So just helping them, support them through that and the fears that they have. I think now, because I've done a lot of self-development and personal development and really, really self-aware, it helps me then it helps me help them understand the feelings and thoughts that they're having when they have these challenges and blocks, whether it be speaking to investors or posting on social media or putting in cheeky offers. A lot of them do have fear, especially because I work with beginners, people that only have a couple of properties. It's new to them, and they just need the help and support. And like you do for me, thinking around different ways and routes of doing things, just helps them to feel more confident in what they're doing. Like I always spin with the investors, you're helping an investor get their money working harder. That's the route, that's the angle that you need to think of. You're providing a service, not that you desperately need £100,000 so you can buy a property to build your property business. Let's look the other angle. And the same with social media. Actually, you documenting your journey is going to help and inspire other people to escape their 9-to-5 job or build their pension pot, because they can see that you're doing it as well when you're sharing your learnings and challenges and successes along the way.
Really amazing. So it sounds like a really nice combination of very much focused on the real business priorities and making those work, but actually realizing a lot of the barriers to doing those things are like, well, I think mindset is the acceptable external world word for it. But that there's other kind of fears and the energy of those fears underneath. Probably not energy healing your mentees quite yet, but maybe that will come.
No, I'm not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet. And so what about the future then for you? Because it's amazing. You've gone from feeling really closed and scared to kind of really opening up again. Like, what does the future hold for you in property?
Oh, there's so many exciting things that we want to do. I think from building our house, we're now looking at doing bigger projects and developments, whether that's build to rent or build to sell, probably a mixture of both. Potentially looking at setting up a lettings agency down the line, networking events. I absolutely love my mentoring, so I still want to continue to do that. I just love being able to support other people to financial freedom or whatever their goal and reason for getting into property is. Lots. I mean, I think property is an incredible world, because once you get started and you sort of crack your strategy and start building up a profitable business, there's so many avenues and options and things that you can do to continue to build multiple streams of income, I suppose. And
if you were to go back and you give some advice to yourself when you were starting out, or someone who's just starting out now, like what advice would you give to people to be able to keep going when the tough times come?
I A few things. I think being really, really clear on your why is really important. Like for me, I have no other option. There is no way I could be employed again. I have to
totally unemployable.
Yeah, totally unemployable. I cannot be told that I have to have a lunch at 11 o'clock or I can't have Christmas off because John's got Christmas off. Like that's a real fire inside of me that I absolutely hated. And yeah, obviously I want time and freedom to be with my kids and my family. So yeah, having a really, really clear why. And that helps as well with the shiny penny syndrome, because it can help bring you back. Like the reason we do buy-to-lets and flips is because we want really passive, easy strategies. We don't want to be running like a massive serviced accommodation business, which takes up so much time. And yeah, that can help rein you in. And also just having a clear vision and sort of a strategy as to how you're going to achieve those steps. I like what we do with our quarterly rocks. So similar to like the 12-week year, set some really key actions, and then just network. I think without your network, it's really, really hard, and you need to build relationships with agents, investors,
and also compadres, like friends who are going through the same thing, right? Because you're right, like it can be a really, it's like a tough industry in many ways. There's a lot of not so nice things that go on and a lot of challenging things that you come up against. And I think, yeah, that group of people that are going through it and somehow staying the course is really important.
Yeah, definitely. It's lovely to have our community that you've created, so we can, like you say, you feel like when you're going through it, you're the only person going through it and you're having the shittest time, but you can speak to other people and they're going through exactly the same, if not worse. And yeah, it does help, because it can be a lonely space at times.
And then what about things like meditation, or getting into things a bit more alternative like that? Do you suggest that for people who are getting started earlier on? Like, when do you think that is useful to start thinking about?
I think it depends on the person. But if they start to show sort of signs of overwhelm and struggling to deal with like stress and pressure and challenges, I would definitely start bringing it up into conversations. And I use a app, Insightful Timer, which I find really useful and easy for people just discovering meditation, because it's got a lot of guided meditations around different subjects. So if there's something particular, you can literally search it and it'll bring up a list of different options. But it also depends on how receptive they are. Maybe at the beginning they're not too receptive to it, so I'll hold fire for a while and bring it back up later down the line. But it really is a very, very powerful tool for, I think, like you said recently, you can create financial freedom, time freedom, but you also need the emotional freedom. And it can really help to do that and to just put you in a calm, level environment in your head.
Love it. Thank you, Natasha. It's just it's such a rare opportunity to hear someone who's, done so well like you have in property, just be so open about the challenges that you've been through and the perhaps very unexpected solutions that you found to them, being not just looking to like practical solutions, but being open-minded to more alternative solutions, and just seeing the difference in how calm and happy you are. And it continues to just fill me with joy, just hearing how you're like, yeah, this really rubbish thing has happened, but yeah, I'm okay, I'm calm. And before that would have been a whole story into a lot of negativity and doubt, which you're just, as you say, just really catching now.
Yeah, definitely. I try and notice every little trigger and then sit with it and see, why is it making me feel like that, and then send it lots of love and move on.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Natasha, for joining us. I absolutely loved having that conversation. If you want to reach out to Natasha off the back of this episode today, if you're maybe looking for a mentor to help you get started in property, to help you raise your first finance from investors, Natasha does absolutely amazing work with people in that place. You can reach out to her at natasha@friendpropertygroup.co.uk, or just connect with her on Instagram if you want to follow her updates and see what she's up to, which is at @NatashaFriend_propertyinvestor. Both of those links are in the show notes too. If you are an investor with more experience who's looking for some support to scale up, to raise further finance, to do more deals, then check out our Dealmaker Accelerator program. You can find out more information on how to apply at property-strategy.com/DMA. So until next week, we wish you well. Look at your challenges through different perspective and see what you can learn from this, and ultimately see it as a launch pad to being able to enjoy the journey more with property, and don't judge the down moments, the challenges, see them as a springboard to the next growth and evolution. So have a great week ahead and loads of love.